Hello friends, suppose you want to set up a new factory or you want to start a new project within an existing company for which you need 10 lakh rupees. But you have only 6 lakh rupees. This means that you need 4 lakh rupees and you need these 4 lakh rupees for the long term, because if you are starting a new work, then it is obvious that you will not be able to return the money in 1 or 2 months. So if you need money for long term, then you can raise this money from capital market. And in capital market, money can be raised in two ways. Either you can take loan from institutional financer, or you can raise this money from corporate security market in securities market. So when we talk about securities market, then securities market is basically long term market where money is raised through shares, bonds and debentures. But we will cover corporate security market in the next video. In today's video, we are going to talk about institutional financing. That is, if you want a loan to set up a new factory or you want to start a new project in an existing company, then we will talk about from where you can get this loan. See, if you ask anyone that I want to start a new business and I need a loan, then people will suggest you to go to the bank and take a loan. And this is right, because banks give loans for such requirements. But where do banks get so much money from? So the answer is that the general public deposits the money with the banks, and the banks use the same money to give loans to the industries. And the banks charge an interest on this loan, and this interest is the income of the bank. But there is another place from where you can take loan, and that is insurance companies. Insurance companies also have a lot of money, and with this money, they finance industries and their projects. Now the question comes that from where does the money come to the insurance companies? So the answer is that when the general public buys insurance policies, that is the money which the insurance company give in the form of loan to the different industries. But the problem is that there is no guarantee that if you go to any bank or insurance company, they will give you the loan. In fact, there are more chances that your loan application will be rejected. And the reason for this is that banks and insurance companies already have long lines of companies seeking loans. Actually, the thing is that the number of industries in our country is very high as compared to number of financial institutes which can finance them. And on top of that, a big problem is that every bank and insurance company want to give loans to some selected companies. In fact, the banks and insurance companies themselves keep competing among themselves to give loans to these selected companies. And on the other hand, there are many such companies to which no one is interested in giving loans. For example, suppose there are two companies. On one side there is Reliance, and on the other side there is company whose name no one has even heard of. If both these companies go to the bank to take a loan, then which company do you think will get the loan easily? It is obvious that the bank will try to give the loan only to Reliance because they have confidence in Reliance that it will return the money. But no one trusts the new company. In such a situation, there are many companies which are not able to raise money. And think about how critical this situation would have been in the 1930s and 40s. So considering such a situation, RBI conducted a study in the 1940s and tried to find a solution to this problem. After this study, RBI found that they would have to create some DFIs, that is, Development Financial Institutions. These will be such financial institutions from which it is expected that these institutions will not compete with banks. That is, they will not run after those companies to whom every bank wants to give loans. Rather, they will give medium and long-term loans to such companies which are deserving but are unable to get loans from anywhere. So if we want to understand the difference between banks and development financial institutions, then the difference is that banks are commercial entities whose primary focus to generate profit, whereas DFIs basically support the undeserved and underdeveloped market so that the economic development of our country can be promoted. And for that, they give loans to such deserving companies to which no one is ready to give loans. And at the same time, it also provides technical assistance to those companies when needed and provides support in many other ways, such as networking. For example, if you run a small company, it will not only give you loan but will also provide technical assistance and will also try to connect you with your client or the big players who belong to your own space. And a major role of DFIs is that they work directly with the government. See, they also know what problems the companies are facing at the grassroots level, as well as they also work with the government. So basically, they work like a link between the government and the companies and keep giving continuous feedback to the government so that the government can change the policies on the basis of these feedbacks or make new policies so that the problems of these companies can be solved. If we talk about the first development financial institution of our country, it was created in 1948 and the name of this development financial institution was IFCI, that is Industrial Financial Corporation of India. At that time, the experts in our country believed that the decision taken by the government to create IFCI will start a new era of development financing in our country. But the problem was that only one financial institute could not solve such a big problem, and it was mainly seen that IFCI was able to cater only to medium and large industries. And the reason for this was believed to be happening because IFCI is an all India financial institute. Thus, small industries are not able to get benefit from IFCI. To solve this problem, the Parliament passed an act in 1951. The name of this act was State Financial Corporation Act. This act gave the power to all the states that they can set up state level DFIs in their states. So in this way, two types of state level DFIs started being set up within every state. The names of these two types of state level DFIs are SFCs, that is State Finance Corporations, and SIDCs, that is State Industrial Development Corporations. The main purpose of both types of state level DFIs was to finance all the medium and small scale industries within the state. Now you will ask, what is the difference between these two? So the difference is not much. Basically, some states believed that if they want to increase the industrial development in their state more rapidly, then they will have to create a wholly state on DFI. And for this purpose, some states had also created SIDCs. So in this discussion till now, we have seen that in 1951, state level DFIs started to be formed in our country. And the first DFI at all India level was created in 1948. We have already seen this. Both these organizations could finance private companies as well as government companies. But this was the period of post independence when a lot of emphasis was being laid on intense industrialization for rapid growth and development in our country. And the entire responsibility was put on public sector undertakings, PSUs, that is government companies. So it is obvious that in such a situation, the focus of all the development financial institutions was mostly on public sector companies only. The private companies were still not able to get loans. In such a situation, another financial institution was created in 1955. The name of this financial institution was ICICI, that is Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India. This organization was created so that it could give its full attention on promoting and financing private sector companies. So you can say that ICICI was India's first DFI, that is Development Financial Institution, which was created for the private sector. And to create this, the World Bank had provided financial and technical support to India. And the reason for this was that India had just become independent. And the World Bank was doing this to promote economic development in India. While doing so, the World Bank helped design the functions and structure of ICICI along with India and also provided funding to ICICI so that it could finance India's private sector companies. So it can be said that at that time ICICI was working as a channel of aid to India from World Bank, and this money was being invested in the private sector of India. In the initial phase, ICICI was working only as a private sector DFI, but later its scope was enlarged and it also started financing those projects which belong to joint public and corporative sectors. So that was about ICICI. Now here we can see that by the 1960s, the situation was such that two All India DFIs were formed in our country, namely IFCI and ICICI. And along with this, state level DFIs in every state, that is SFCs, and in some states SIDCs were also present. So on the basis of this information, it can be said that in the beginning of the 1960s, many DFIs were working in our country, and now there was a need for an apex organization that would coordinate and regulate the functions of all these DFIs. So, for this purpose, IDBI was established in 1964 as an apex organization in the field of development financing. In the initial phase, IDBI was established as a subsidiary of RBI. But in 1976, IDBI was made an autonomous institution and its ownership was transferred to the Government of India. So, here you can understand the importance of IDBI. It was basically performing its role in the field of development financing just the way RBI performs in the field of commercial ranking. And if we talk about its role and responsibilities, it was working as the coordinator of all DFIs at all India level, as well as it was also working to refinance the loans given by these DFIs. Let me explain to you the meaning of refinance. But before that, you should know any bank, DFI, or any financial institution gives loan to anyone, that loan is considered as an asset of that financial institution, because the interest received on the loan is an income for that financial institution. So, in such a situation, if a DFI goes to IDBI and says that it needs a loan, then IDBI will give the loan to that DFI, considering the loan given by that DFI as a security. This is called refinancing. Apart from this, because IDBI is an apex body in the field of development financing, hence one of its functions is to try to encourage and promote the industries of backward areas through its activities. So you can understand how important role IDBI was performing. After this, IRCI was established in 1971. IRCI means Industrial Reconstruction Corporation of India. Its function was that it will try to revive such industries whose economic condition has deteriorated significantly. But those industries are important for a country. That is, we cannot see these industries dying. So, in such a situation, the task of reviving those sick industrial units which are on the verge of closure, which are also important for a country, was given to IRCI. And for this revival, IRCI used to provide them both financial and technical support. IRCI was created in 1971, but due to some inherent difficulties, in 1985, IRCI was converted into IRBI, that is Industrial Reconstruction Bank of India. After this, in 1977, IRBI was once again converted into a new organization whose name was IIBI, that is Industrial Investment Bank of India. After this conversion, now this organization had become a full-fledged All India DFI. That is, now its work was not only to revive the sick industrial units but also to provide support to all types of industries just like other DFIs. But just a few years before the formation of IIBI, that is in 1990, SIDBI was established. The full form of SIDBI is Small Industrial Development Bank of India. This organization was established as an apex body for those DFIs which were doing development financing for small scale industries. Before the formation of this organization, this work was being done by IDBI only, because IDBI was the apex body in the field of development financing. But that part of IDBI's work which was related to small scale industries was transferred to SIDBI, and this was done by Parliamentary Act whose name was SIDBI Act 1989. Through this act, all the shareholdings of IDBI in State Finance Corporation was transferred to SIDBI. So now the situation is that IDBI is still an apex organization in the field of development financing for large and medium scale industries, whereas SIDBI has become an apex organization in the field of development financing for small scale industries. Now look back at the timeline. You can see that till now we have covered total 5 AIFIs, that is All India Development Financial Institutions, and also saw some development financial institutions which have been created at the state level, which are called SFCs and SIDCs. These are two categories of development financial institutions, but in total, there are 4 categories of development financial institutions. The remaining 2 categories are specialized financial institutions, which we will cover in a short while, and the last category is investment institutions, in which the names of LIC, UTI, and GIC come. So let's now cover specialized financial institutions and start with ICICI Venture Funds. Venture funds are basically called such funds which invest in companies in their early stages. That is, these funds basically take a lot of risk. And this is the difference between them and AIFIs. Actually, in 1988, there was a company named Technology Development and Information Company of India. The name of this company was changed to ICICI Venture Fund, and this venture fund was created in 1998. Two funds were created inside ICICI Venture Fund. The name of the first fund was Vikas 1 and the name of the second fund was Vikas 2nd. Both these funds were technology venture funds. That is, both these funds were created only to promote technology companies. The full form of Vikas is Venture Capital Unit Scheme. After this, the next specialized financial institution is IFCI Venture Capital Fund, and it was started in the year 1988 as Risk Capital and Technology Finance Corporation Limited, that is like RCTC Limited, and it was also renamed as IFCI Venture Capital Fund in the year 2000. After this, in this also, two funds were created inside it. One was named Vikas Third and the other was named Risk Capital Fund. Vikas Third again was a technology fund, and this Risk Capital Fund was later scrapped. And since we are talking about specialized financial institutions here, you can see many such funds which were created specific to industries to support those specific industry sectors. For example, Tourism Financial Corporation of India, that is TFCI, was established as a financing institution so that the tourism industry could be developed and promoted. Apart from this, Exim Bank was created to facilitate and promote foreign trade, that is Export-Import Bank, and IDFC was also established in the category of specialized financial institution, which is one of the first institutions of India which was created to finance infrastructure projects. Infrastructure project means roads, bridges, dams, etc. So we have already talked about specialized financial institutions, all India development financial institutions and state level. Now let's talk about investment institutions. Here you can see LIC and GIC. These are basically insurance organizations. So the work of the insurance organization is that it provides insurance to the common people. And the money that is collected by selling insurance is used for project financing. Their purpose is to provide financial support to industries that promote India's economic development and growth. They not only help industries but also mobilize people's savings and provide insurance to them. Now here the third investment institution is UTI, that is Unit Trust of India. The work of Unit Trust is basically similar to that of mutual fund, but there are two or three differences. The first difference is that the government regulations on mutual fund and unit trust are quite different. Apart from this, the kind of asset classes that mutual fund invest in is quite different from the investment of unit trust. And if we talk about the structure of unit trust, then it happens here that money is taken from investors, through which a collective pool is created, and this money is invested in different asset classes. And the entire investment is managed by a professional fund manager and his team. That is, this professional fund manager and his team decide where the money of the common people will be invested, and this is called a trust. And the investor who has invested the money in this trust is allotted that many units. That is why this whole scheme is called unit trust. And because UTI used to do this work in India, that is why it was called Unit Trust of India. And the Unit Trust of India is credited with the fact that it single-handedly set up the whole industry of mutual funds in India. So with this, we can say that we have completely covered AIFIs and institutional financing. But the problem is that as soon as the economic reform period started after 1991, the importance of development financial institutions continuously decreased. Industries began to depend more on banks and securities market for money than on DFIs. This happened because by the time the geographical network of banks had increased considerably. They had good infrastructure and their client base had also become much better as compared to DFIs, and also capital could be raised easily through the securities market, and these options were also very much liked by the industries, and in such a way the importance of DFIs gradually decreased. And in order to understand this better and to define further strategy, RBI formed a committee which was named Narasimhan Committee. This committee prepared a report in the year 1991, and in this report report, this committee suggested that now all the DFIs should be converted into development banks. And because of this, in the year 2000, ICICI was merged with ICICI Bank under a reverse merger. And in 2002, the same thing happened with IDBI. IDBI was merged with IDBI Bank, and thus many DFIs were settled. In fact, in the year 2000, GIC, which was an investment institute, that is II, was also stopped functioning as a DFI and was said that you will not work like a DFI but like a common reinsurance company. In the same year, LIC was also removed from the list of DFI and it was left as a common life insurance company. After that, in 2002, the same thing was done with UTI. UTI was no longer a DFI and became a common mutual fund company. After this, in the year 2012, IIBI was also locked out. So these were the details of institutional financing. To cover Indian history and Indian economy in detail, follow Bookstawa playlist. Link is given in the description box. Thank you so much for watching and supporting Bookstawa.